Hurricanes on Saturday were victorious and they got a huge win over the Texas A&M Aggies 48-33. Jordan, we heard a break down the game. Jordan, what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Okay, first off, before I start, I know that the update on Miami safety Cameron Kitchens was out, but that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen. So prayers to him. I hope that everything turns out okay. But as for the game, this was a huge monumental win for Miami, right? Last year going 5-7, and actually Texas A&M did as well. But this was a huge win for Miami, 5-7. Um, I will get into what this means for both teams in a minute. But let's just go over the great day Tyler Van Dyke had, right? 21 of 30, 374, five touchdown passes. Like I referred to in a previous video, Tyler Van Dimes, as he calls himself. And he definitely showed why on Saturday. Um, I thought that Miami's offense really played well, but I think maybe the defense needs a little bit of work. Like I mentioned in the offseason, we'll see what how well the hire for Bobby Petrino at Texas A&M means. If you know this is a decent offense and Miami's offense or Miami's defense doesn't really need much work, or vice versa, we'll see. But what this means for both teams is obviously we'll start with Miami. This is a huge win for them. Their biggest win since Notre Dame in 2017. Jake, would you agree with that?
I would.
All right, so Miami. Um, does this mean they're going to go, 10-2, make the ACC championship game? We don't know. But the rest of the season looks good, right? You got North Carolina, Clemson down the road, Florida State. We'll see how those games work out. But this is a huge win for Miami. And for Texas A&M, does this mean their season's over? No. It's not a conference loss, so it has nothing to do with the SEC championship picture. But this is a demoralizing loss to be sure for the Aggies. Evan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll keep this quick because I want to let the Hurricanes fan weigh in here mostly. But I think I agree exactly with what Jordan said. I think this game was the Van Dyke game, the Van Dimes game, maybe, as they have said. But five touchdowns, he played great. This isn't Southern Miss. This isn't Middle Tennessee. This isn't Bethman Cookman and the FCS or however you say it. This is Texas A&M. This is an SEC opponent. You played great. So credit where it's due. Miami still needs some work on the defense. Texas A&M had over 300 yards passing with Connor Wegman. And still some work to do there, especially if we're going to compete with FSU, especially if I'm still going to mention Clemson. I think that was a bad loss opening week, but they're still sticking around too. If you're going to compete with them, you're going to have to play a little better defense, but this was the coming out game for him. And then on Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, I mean, the kind of a little bit of a fall of grace. Like obviously last year they were super high ranked. They lost to Appalachian State, didn't do much. This year they weren't as high ranked, but they were still hanging around. Could they finish third, possibly, maybe in the SEC West? It's just I don't know what's going on with them. But I think more so than that, it's just an impressive win for Miami. And Jake, time to celebrate, right?
Hang on. Let me get it. Let me get it. What a win. What a win, okay? I'm gonna tell you this. What a win. Tyler Van Dyke goes for five touchdowns. Gordon said the defense does need work. Yes, I'll agree on that. The defense does need work. But the offense came out electric. Xavier was stripping over 100 yards. I mean, come on, man. Miami 2-0, huge win. But then Cookman tomorrow. Let's get it.
Who do you fear in the ACC right now? Outside, so FSU is a given, right? FSU is a given, but who else do
Yeah,
you fear?
no one. No one. That is my honest answer.
Come
Nobody.
on, come on, Jake. Let's talk realistically. I heard this when you guys were going barely making bowl games. Let's be realistic. Come on, who in the ACC? Okay, you don't like that word fear. Who's going to give you a ride?
I mean, in a couple of weeks, honestly, the Tar Heels might.
That's true. They played an impressive offense. I mean, usually North Carolina they usually get ranked, barely ranked, maybe in the 20s, high teens. they'll play good on offense and then kind of scatter, but they look pretty solid. They beat South Carolina handily. That's a good pick. I think Duke's good in the ACC. I think obviously you got to worry about FSU and do not count out Clemson, but Miami is in it. I will say that Miami is for sure in the mix right now. And usually even when they're making their bowls, I would have said, no way they're in it. But yeah, they're in it right now, especially due to Van Dimes.
Clemson did not help themselves at all losing to Duke. So,
Yeah,
especially in the way they lost.
I think that this was definitely Mario Cristobal's quote unquote coming out party at Miami, right? You had that huge win. Maybe Miami is here, right? As Miami fan like to say, the U is back. I don't know if that's exactly true yet, but
No, don't say that. Don't say that just yet. Don't say that just yet.
They're heading in the right direction. They're heading in the right direction, though. I will say that.